talking. Ain't no time for talking. Ain't no time for talking.
It is your man John David. This is Ain't No Time for Talking. We are here at Max of Eastman Place, and I am here with guests who need no introduction, but I also introduce them either way. On the far right, to my left, we have a very, very lovely woman who I've never met before, although she claims she was there the day I was born. She also claims to be my godmother. I call her Aunt Sandra, but this is Sandra J. Simon, Director of Special Operations and Education Initiative. That's a long title. Here for the city of Rochester. To her right, we have the very lovely Taylor, North Star Christian Academy student, third grader, and her occupation is doing homework, as I was told. And directly to my left, we have a woman who truly needs no introduction, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I like to get the sound of my own voice. We have Mayor Lovely Warren, the first female mayor in Rochester, New York. Groundbreaking, but the most incredible accomplishment of all of that is that she is a Wilson Wildcat graduate. West High School, baby. Wildcats, baby.
Wildcats for life.
It is my pleasure to have you here today. And I have to admit, I was a little nervous for this one. I've interviewed many people. But whenever you get into the political field, you always got to be careful of, what are you going to say? So I was actually, reading up things and everything. And then you come in and we're like, wait, can we be serious? Or can we joke around a little bit and we have a good time? And so I'm very, very relieved now. Once I start using my loud voice, that means I'm pretty comfortable.
There's questions?
Oh, there's
I thought
questions.
We were just here to eat.
No. There's always questions.
Okay.
What was the best moment of January 1st, 2014, when you were sworn in as mayor of the city of Rochester?
The best moment was the fact that my grandfather was alive to see the moment.
Yes.
He had a massive stroke on December 24th.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just, that was one of my prayers to God, was to allow him to be here when I was sworn in.
Yeah.
So my grandparents, my mom's parents, came here from King Street, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And so to be one generation removed from, the fields, the cotton fields of South Carolina, and to have your granddaughter be sworn in.
Yeah.
He walked with me on that journey, so being there with him was the highlight of that moment.
And he was the reason you originally went into law, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now, listen, you ain't gonna be on the show.
Homework.
Of course I did my homework. This is what I does. Okay. Wildcats. Oh, okay. Now let's talk about that. Okay. We've encountered Susan Johnson was your principal.
Yes.
Okay. Susan. Yeah. That was my principal.
What year did you graduate?
I graduated in 02.
Okay.
So
were you there with Jack, my cousin Jack?
Jack White.
Anisha.
Anisha White.
Jason.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jack was a junior when I was a freshman. Yes. And he also was there when my brother was there.
Okay. And your brother is
Chris.
Yes.
And so he was kind of my in. When I was a freshman, I was eating in the senior cafeteria because of because of Chris, you know.
Uh-huh.
But then all of his friends left
Okay.
that next year, and then I was back, you know, I was the regular schmucks. That's
So you're
it.
supposed to carry on.
Well, my junior year I got back in there, but then by the time my senior year came, it wasn't cool anymore to be in the senior cafeteria.
Yeah, I didn't like senior cafeteria.
I ain't like the because I was
Did
a
you learn how
freshman.
to play spades? I was saying.
I certainly did learn how to
Are
play
you
spades.
good?
Listen, I am the best spade player in all the land. I am the most accurate bidder, and that is the best spade player. If you can bid, then you are. Then
I have to see it to believe it.
we went through the whole hand. I had the big joker. I got the little joker walk and the two of diamonds walk. I had no idea what I was doing, and so my partner just kept looking at me, and
Partner was like, get up.
That's exactly
Listen,
right.
that's it. Wasn't
you
my
off the table
my
because
part-
you don't know how to play.
That's right.
Matthew, aka Matt. He's actually flexible on either, and he's the chief executive server here at Max of Eastman Place. Matthew, how are you today, sir?
I'm well, thanks. The new fall menu has a lot of more root vegetable
Yeah.
type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's less summer fare.
Yes.
So mostly stuff that is in season now.
Yeah.
Chef Jill and Tony, provide some of the freshest ingredients from local farms, and
Yeah.
they whip it up. I just describe what they tell me, and it's always delicious.
See here, Max of Eastman Place, Matthew, chief executive server and president of all things serving. I added to your title there, Matthew.
Thank you.
He is the man. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
All right. As a mayor, I follow you on Facebook. Very public, which is odd because you are a public figure, but not a lot of people in public office are, or as accessible as you are, as I should say. And some are, but some aren't. And you're on Facebook. It's not, it's just you have a Facebook page, and I don't know why, but I find that very refreshing because you're just, even here how we have this conversation. You're just like one of us, like a regular person. Yeah. So, but how do you balance that? Because you still are an elected official. Diplomacy has to come into play. However, you're from Rochester, Wilson graduate, you're a mother. How do you balance the two?
And a wife.
And a wife.
I think that I always believe in staying true to my values and who I am, and never forgetting where I came from.
Yeah.
I want to get back to it, and I like to be accessible. So I think that having people come up to me and talk to me and feeling free to do that is
Yeah.
something that's very, very important to me. Some people have issues with it because I'm touchy-feely and huggy and stuff like that. They're like, why you gotta hug everybody?
Who is that? Oh, you.
I'm trying to get out of this door and you hugging people.
Oh, okay, yes. See, I can relate to that as well. Yes.
But it's part of who I am.
Yeah. You worked your way up. I mean, you were a clerk, assistant for David Gant. I did my homework. For our current governor, you were a clerk for him. You were a clerk for Rochester City Court judge. This all before you eventually passed the bar, went into law, and then you won.
So I passed the bar in the first time, so not eventually.
I didn't mean it in that fashion. I'm just saying it wasn't you passed the bar and then you started doing these things to work your way up. You were working while you were working to pass the bar on the first try. I mean, I thought that was implied because you're a Wilson grad. But apparently we have to put that disclaimer. We'll put that
you
in
said
writing.
eventually, so people might.
5 times it took her to pass this bar. And then so working your way up, I know that experience had to play an effect in what you do now because you're still kind of you have a servant's heart, not to sound cheesy, but you do have a servant's heart. Was those positions that you took and working in service, would you say would that attain to or what's the word I'm looking for, Sandra? Would that factor in to how you serve up?
It all do. It all does, I should say. But I think that it was more so divine intervention if I had to outlay it, because just even working for Assemblyman David Gant, I always thought I would be a DA.
Yeah.
What is that? A district attorney, a criminal lawyer. So I thought I would be in criminal law in the courtroom. So I knew my dream was to be an attorney, but I was in college and working and going to school, and I had a professor that said, you need to go to Albany and do an internship. I'm like, go to Albany? Why?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not thinking about, that type of public service. I want to go and get to the courtroom. I'm going to be a lawyer. And she just said, there are different sides of the law. She said, there are different sides of the law, and I think that you should go. And so I went to, I eventually filled out the application and got the internship, and went there, found an apartment, and then was able to request to go to Assemblyman David Gant's office. And other people had requested it, but I was the one to actually be chosen. And from there, working under his tutelage, that was what put me on this path.
The office.
Yeah.
So I help with payroll, I help with invoicing, I help with scheduling, I'll bartend. I don't really like dining room serving. I run the event. I can run the events.
Yeah. So you know everything, all the nooks and crannies.
And I do a really good job in the dishwashing pit
Yes,
when they're not
you
all
do.
hollering at me.
Yes.
Well, there's no reason for the owner's sister to be washing dishes.
But I'm really
and
good at it.
dishwashers.
Oh, please tell me we're recording. Her mic's on?
No, we're not recording that, are we?
There's no reason for the owner's sister to be washing dishes. That is our sound bite for this episode. But you're just saying too dignified for the position is what you're saying.
No, this woman works harder than any person in this restaurant.
I don't ask anybody to do anything that I don't do myself.
Oh, see? Okay. You're the perfect person we need to be speaking with. From Mary. And Mary is very, very quite Mary is actually the sister of Tony Galassi, who is the owner of Max of Eastman Place. And Mary can tell you everything about the place. I've been trying to ask her for some dirt. She won't give it up because she's too loyal. Mary, how are you this evening?
I'm very good, thank you.
Turn
I support it as much as possible. So I'll do a little bit of bartending, I'll help run the events, help with scheduling, invoicing, pretty much anything that needs to be done, I'll help do it. I like doing it. It's great being around the people.
And she's being modest still. Like literally, Chef Jill has had to run her out of the kitchen because she's washing the dishes. And so she says, you do too much around here.
But I don't cook.
But you don't cook.
I don't.
But see, that's what you have.
That's what I have a lot of staff for.
That's what you have the staff for. What kind of theme it would be, what kind of food it would serve, things of that nature.
Really, Tony does all of that stuff.
Yeah.
He creates his menu, he creates the atmosphere that he wants to have projected. So really all of that, his inception of this is really all from him.
Yeah. He's like Alfred Hitchcock, like you very seldomly see him, but he's like the genius behind all of this, all these masterpieces
He really
and things of
does.
that nature. But just a swell guy, just couldn't get it on camera.
You can't get him.
Very, very
Has
modest.
sneak out very quickly.
Very, 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 but he's a lovely man.
Washing end of it, I will not do the cooking end of it.
But when they
My
start serving
kitchen will
grill-
be very clean when they're done.
See, okay, but that's all I need because I like to make a mess in the kitchen.
No,
but if
I'll
I have
keep
someone,
cleaning very good.
okay, well then we have ourselves a deal.
Yeah, we got
all
it.
right, Mary,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Rochester, it's very, we have a lot of different restaurants, and it's unique in the fact that they're not chain restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
In a lot of other cities you go to, there's a lot of chains and other things. But here,
Rochester
very
is a very underappreciated food culture here. As far as the vast variety, vast array of foods, talents. When I first moved, I went to Brooklyn, and I lived in San Antonio, lived in California, I lived down in South Florida, I lived in Atlanta most recently. I still technically, half my stuff is still in Atlanta. I came home to be closer to my parents, and also just Rochester has, when I go out to all these other places, there's talent, but it's not more talent than that's here in Rochester. It's just that it's a different type of city where the support hasn't, or we don't always support each other like we should in the city. And also it's just lack of resources, lack of knowledge, people very introverted. So when
but you have to realize that one of the other things that has happened here is that those people that have the resources and have the knowledge, especially in other cities, they return back home to their city, and they bring all the things that they've learned, and they cultivate that, and they reach back out, and they really pull out the very, very best. So when you think about what, whether you're talking about Michael Jordan or T.I. or all these people do in their community, it's not just we took this information and we're going to build somebody else's city up.
Right.
Where we've had a lot of people that have been born here, raised here, educated here, and they leave
groomed
here,
Mm-hmm.
and they never really think to come back.
Yes.
And so that's one of the challenges that we see and we try to overcome, because if everybody leaves and like, oh well, you know what, this city is better, well, there's no way that you can change the community, especially, and bring back that information, bring back that knowledge, or build up that talent if everybody that has it is gone.
I was watching an interview with Taye Diggs, and he shouted out Rochester, and it was one of the first times that I've heard him do that. However, he didn't. It wasn't like he was ashamed. He said, "Shout out to School of the Arts, Rochester, New York," and I was like, "Oh, that's what's up." I said, "How could more people?" If you look at the celebrities who are from Rochester, why don't we get more of that? And that's what I mean for the support. It's not just from the people here in Rochester, the people who go out and then they stay gone and they adapt to whatever city they move to. And so,
I don't know. I think that that's something that we tried to reach out to, and we've had a number of people that have started to come back and say, oh, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? And so, and I think that like Roland Williams, is doing extraordinary work here.
it's true. It's true. Although he went to East.
And so you have other people like Clayton Gauze that was from here and came back. And so you have people, but it's not in the masses where it's like I'm going to put a stake in the ground and really, educate 10,000 young people on music and how to produce and get them involved and bring that talent. And that's one of the challenges that we have.
But this is home for me. And so now me coming home and having an opportunity to tour the country, being signed and dealing with record labels, movie studios, celebrities, and gathering all that, we can have that here. Hollywood has come here to film, before. So it's not that.
They're here now.
And
like Jodeci used to come here and
Timberland, Missy Elliott, Mary J. Blige, Diddy, Uptown Records. A lot of that was Deja Line, right there, East Avenue. Right.
But somebody, I mean, the thing about it is that we can open up the door, but you need someone to say, okay, I'm going to do it. I have those relationships and those connections where I can bring those people, I can build a studio and bring those people up here to record so they can get away from the hustle and the bustle and be able to relax in a different environment. And so at that point, so you need that. We need that in order to, bring those people back. But I think that people feel like, we'll be okay. This is Rochester, Rochester's we'll be fine. That's down in the Kodak and Basham and Xerox, they'll be fine. And yes, we will be. We've overcome our challenges and we'll continue to overcome them.
Yeah.
But we also need to make sure that we are reaching back and lifting as we climb.
Yes.
And that's so very, very important for a lot of people. They reach back in other places. They don't necessarily reach back where they came from.
Yes.
You don't know what you don't know. And then and if you haven't been exposed to that environment, and what you've been exposed to is what you always produce.
Yeah.
So, I think that the expectations is that people know better. You should start here on time.
Yeah.
You should be to work on time. Do you, really think that, business is going to stop because you didn't show up? No. So, but those discussions and that sort of grooming, who here has the information and the knowledge that you have, and how do you pour that back into the community so that they understand, like, okay, these are things, this is the expectation.
And we're sitting here with Chef Jill, head chef, executive chef, yes, culinary wizard here at Max of Eastman Place. Chef Jill, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm doing excellent. I just recently tasted a couple of the dishes off of the new fall menu. I'm going right into it. The quail. Can we talk about the quail? What was in the quail and how it knew how to make everything in my life all right when I tasted it? Can you explain to me about that?
We get quail from Bandera Ranch, which is in Texas, and we decided to stuff it with fresh figs and blue cheese, and then wrapped it in bacon and just.
But it was, I've had quail several different forms. I've never had it like that. And it was magnifique. And then I had the lamb shank. And just let me talk about this lamb shank for 1 second, please. It didn't need a knife. It didn't need a fork. It just kind of jumped onto the fork, put itself onto my mouth, and it chewed itself for me.
It's how long we braise it for.
How long do you braise it?
4.5 hours.
Oh, okay.
4.5 hours. Yeah. We just season with salt and pepper.
Really?
And sear it, and then all the mirepoix that goes into it, and then port wine and red wine.
Yeah.
And stock and demi.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of
just becomes what
that is.
What
and then
that was. Yeah.
When it comes out, we let it sit in the braising liquid for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And then we reduce the braising liquid, and that becomes the sauce. We take into play what comes into season locally.
Yeah.
What Tony's all about, local and fresh, and not bringing in things that are farmed.
Yeah. Chef Jill, thank you so much.
A lot of those cities started turning around decades ago. They started making those investments. The steel plant closed. They had to make a decision, and they decided, like, okay, well, I'm going to. We're going to start changing things.
Yeah.
And so, where for us it was a slow drift. It was 5,000 people laid off here, 10,000 there, 5,000 here, and then we woke up one day and we were like, what happened?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And we tried different things, and and some of it succeeded, some of it failed, but we learned. We were able to build off of that, and so now we've turned that corner. We have people, investing in the city, and we have great developers and great, restaurant owners and people that are excited about our city. And for us, it's how do we make sure that everybody participates in the economic recovery of the city?
This is John David. For Sandra J. Simon. For the lovely Taylor. And for our esteemed mayor, who balances her title and her other titles as mother and as wife and as a human being very well. I mean, you were a mayor and a mother tonight. And you also have to deal with my Aunt Sandra every day. So this woman is a saint. So thank you all so much for joining us. Thanks you to Max of Eastman Place for having us.
Thank you.
Ain't no time for talking. We out, baby.
Good night.
You see? Now this is Aunt Sandra J. Simon. I almost said what the J stood for. I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. But I almost.
Josephine.
Do you not know what the J stands for?
No, and she will not know what the J
I
stands for.
do, but I don't remember.
Oh!
I
Oh!
still whip your butt.
Yes, you can. Yes,
Tell
you can. Huh?
Tell me.
I mean, this is the mayor.
I don't get that.
This is the highest office in the city. I have to respect the office undercover. All right? The 21 irrefutable laws of leadership, right?
Okay, just adore her. Just tell us.
Okay.
Please.
Well, it starts with a J.
Okay,
Yes.
listen to me.
Just spell it. Just spell it.
Listen to me.
Just spell
Yes,
it.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
You know how much I love you.
Yes, you do.
I will. If you're gonna say, who's gonna pray over the food?
Oh, I mean, I could bless the food. Oh, we didn't get no. Oh, we gonna get over the bread?
Over the bread so the baby can eat.
Yeah, Lord.
No, don't go.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought we was gonna have a song first.
You can sing.
Huh?
You can sing.
Oh, don't get me started. 'Cause we'll be all
Yeah.
I started singing in the church. Some songs go a long time. they go a long ways. Once you start going, then it's all over.
And you know, they didn't like for me to pray because they thought I prayed too long.
She would play for the braids of grass that the cows would eat that they use to make the burgers. That's how she would play. So,
No,
yeah.
I didn't.
Jesus himself came and said, all right, that's running a little bit too long, Sandra. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this food. We thank you for this time of fellowship and for conversation and for laughter in the time when we so desperately need it. We thank you for this food. We ask that you bless it to our nourishment and the hands that prepared it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
And we're going to keep that on air.